because of our culture of lack of integrity in Uganda, that's why we are going to die poor. Tell me any of you in the poultry business, who would give a Ugandan their chickens to go to sell when they haven't paid? Tell me, any of you here, who would? I was telling you about how people who don't even pay rent where they sleep. But not every single Ugandan who comes across your path is a thief. And we expect this country to get out of poverty? No.
Welcome to Send His Word Ministries, making disciples of all nations through the power of God's Word. Prepare your heart for today's message.
It's very helpful when you're going to talk to people to know their age group, to know their expectations. Then my mind I can think and say what you need, not what I have prepared. Because as you can see, when we are in different age brackets of our lives, it's different. I can see myself when I was your age, how my mind was working. And I'm amazed at your age, you guys you are so much sharp and brighter. I'm glad you had scars. In our church, we call that school fees. The young people in our church say, "Oh, I paid school fees." When you hear them say school fees, you know he had a disaster. So they term it, "Oh, I paid school fees," and then you know, okay, that was a disaster of a business, but they are lessons. Yeah. Wow. For any Christian in Kampala, any Christian couple in Kampala running a business successfully, you must know one or two things. You didn't get it from a casino. So since you didn't get it from a casino, there must be a journey where other people can learn. And trust me, this is my passion. Even in our church, this is what I do. I'm always teaching different groups, and this is my passion. Any opportunity for me to be helping people to become more financially stable, I'm just drawn to it. I just enjoy it. So we'll start. And the topic is investing for financial security. We'll have to define what financial security is. This is the definition I have. It's having enough money and stability so that unexpected stuff doesn't knock your whole life off balance or off track. Life is dynamic, and life can bring anything. So when somebody is financially stable, secure, life can go on, even when life has happened. So it's not about being super rich. It's about having options and breathing space. Somebody can be super rich according to us. But just one thing happens in their life and it looks like the carpet has been taken out of their feet, and it's a total fall. We could try to imagine riches which are not firm-founded. People who get quick money. I've done a deal here. I get a difference, and because that kind of money is funny, you expect it to come tomorrow, and that's the biggest problems with people in offices who take bribes. You are in an office, you know that everybody who brings in for you to sign will bring money. The day you are sick and you can't go to work, that bribe money will not come. But there is a way that money doesn't last. Those people who get that money have a way of spending it. Mu Luganda tukiyita bazirya kivubi. You know, because the fishermen go and get fish, and tomorrow they know they will get fish, so they eat. For in Luganda we call it kuzirya kivubi, like a fisherman. So it's not about being super rich, but it's about having enough to help you go through life, even when things have gone wrong. It's having a steady, assured flow of cash. It's having an assured flow of cash. Doesn't need to be a lot of cash, but enough cash to help you live on. Because what we need to know is there are certain things we need to live on or live with. Electricity, water, food, clothing, housing, then we add on school fees, then we add on medical and all that. And you can kind of make a small budget in your home. And you know that if we have 100,000 shillings a week, we will not die in our home. We will have the basics to live on. That is financial security. Financial security is not about having huge assets. It's about having that cash flow that comes in to make life move. And that doesn't have to be a lot of money, but it has to be some money. I hope we are together. It's an assured flow of cash. Mind you, this is not assets, but cash. Yeah? This is not assets, but cash. You have a huge piece of land there, but you have no cash. It's about having continuous cash flow, especially to cover the basics for you to have a comfortable life. Financial security is when you don't need other people's money to solve your problems. And we all know this doesn't work. Let's go back to that definition that financial security is when your life will not go offline when life happens. Example of life happening is sickness, death, loss of jobs, accidents, all that. But when there is enough to continue paying for the basics in your home, even when these kind of things happens, for other essentials, we can say you are financially secure. In fact, try to visualize in your mind what could be your fallback on if you had trouble. For example, if you had an accident, sickness, joblessness, or even Trump for that matter. Because Trump happened and a lot happened. Yeah, there are also things like that. Just close your eyes and visualize that if anything happened to me today, what could bring in money in our house, in our home, so that we don't have to go to our neighbor to ask for salt, food, yaka, water, transport, that little cash. That cash, it's not little cash, but that. I just want all of you to just close your eyes and visualize and imagine what would be your fallback position. I want to make this personal. I'm glad many of you are involved in poultry. What other things can you, because some of you are in employment, but you're also doing the poultry. In case you're not doing poultry, what else could you do to bring in cash every day? Now, how do you achieve financial stability? We've explained what financial stability is. Now, how do we achieve it? Of course, you must establish and stabilize income. This is work. You must work and earn, or you must do anything legal to earn. Getting the juice, getting a job, getting a salary, getting your business, publishing, making the chicken, shoe repair, furniture shop, anything. You must do something. If somebody is not doing anything, I will not employ that person. If you're looking for a job and you come and you tell me you are not doing anything, I will not give you a job. Because you're not even using the first asset God gave you. The first thing is your brain and your hands and your arms and your eyes and life. And you're not using it even to sell charcoal? Really? When you work, I'm assuming you're going to earn. Number two, you are not going to toso sola mirimu as long as it is legal. Togamba abananda babatya. That's the beginning of poverty. You must be frugal. After you've started to earn, your 20,000 is coming in. You must be frugal. You must be careful. You must hold on to that money. Besides tithing, this is money to stabilize your security. You must be frugal so that you can build a fund. God has blessed you. The business is running. The 20,000 is coming in. You must be very careful. You must be very frugal. You must build a fund. Whatever amount of money you are getting, whether you're getting it from a salary, whether you're getting from a business, you must build a fund. And what do I mean by building a fund? Sometimes that's where you would have a savings account. That's where maybe other people would have a piggy bank or an envelope. But you must build a fund. If you are doing anything and there is any money coming in from that business, you must put off some money for an investment fund. Investment is not the poultry farm. That is the business you are doing to create cash, which cash will create a fund. When you have built this fund, then we can talk about investment. Now that's the question. What do you invest in? We are going to talk about what, after building the fund, what do I invest in? But before you do that, you do not tell anybody about your money. Don't tell anyone except your spouse how much you have accumulated in savings. People will plan for your money. That's nature. You tell me you have 10 million shillings there, you are idle without any plan, I'll plan for it. So don't tell anybody about your fund. Now, what do we invest in? Let's just quickly define what is investment. Investment is not the business. Investment for security, for financial security, we invest in those things which create money without your presence. You don't have to go there every morning to work to be able to get that money. Investments are those cash minting machines without your presence, without your physical presence, physical input. So here I wrote, this is putting your money to work so that it can grow. It's a money-making machine. Ideas of investments. Let's not talk about ideas of investments. Let's talk about first the things we can do to help us build the funds, then we can do the investments. Shops, hotels, farms, professions, all those are businesses, although all those are conduits that will help us build cash or funds. For example, the poultry businesses, you are working there every day, you are earning money from them. Even our professions are businesses. The teachers are paid for teaching, and you get a salary, you get the salary, you spend, you tithe, you give, you save. Now, what you have saved is the accumulated fund, which you are going to use for investments. Let's talk about the different options of investments. Now, these investments are interesting. He said we need to be careful what we invest in. Absolutely. One thing you need also to learn about is taxation. You need to know about taxation. When you're doing this business of yours, poultry, my little grocery shop, my clinic, pharmacy, whatever business you're doing, you must know the taxation policies and laws concerning the kind of business you are doing. Otherwise, you're going to do a business and you'll find that you're not making any money. For any business you are going to do, please learn the taxation laws of this country, how much you will be paying, when, where, Now, can you imagine going into something which costs a lot of, where you need a huge investment and you have not had any education about it or any understanding about it? So now we have done the businesses, we've done the work, we have collected the savings, we have made this fund. This fund, I won't say that you need so much money. It depends on what you're going to invest in. Now, these are the things we can invest in. At least this is what I know. I'm sure my list is not exhaustive. There must be a lot more in which I don't know about. But I know that there are things like bonds. I know there are things like unit trusts. I know there are things like insurance, life insurance policies. I know there are things like shares, when you buy shares in companies. I know there are fixed investments like real estates, like buildings. That's real estate is a very popular way of investing. Buying shares involves you being a part of somebody else's business. I hope you know about that. For example, Uganda Bati is there, Mukwano Industries, MTN and whatever. They have their businesses, but they float their shares and they allow us, wananchis, to be able to buy shares, and we also own part of MTN. We also own part of Mukwano Industries. We also own part of Uganda Bati, Uganda Cement. That's how it works. It's always better to buy shares at the IPO level, when they are doing their first initial opening. You buy them very cheaply. But even then, even if you have not bought at the IPO, if you study a company and you know it is making money, at any point you can still buy shares. And you still get the dividends and you still get profits. But you need to do due diligence and get education.